Outside of Juliet's in Verona, I don't think there's a balcony in the world that is more romantic than the one at Buckingham Palace. There it is, right behind me. This is where William kissed his bride twice.
There you go, Barbara.
First time there have been 2 kisses.
William and Catherine were entering a new era, and so was the always constant but endlessly adaptable Queen. William Arthur Philip Louis. He may be the only person who can truly relate to what it was like for Elizabeth to assume the throne in her 20s, because he's in his 20s himself, at least for 3 more weeks. It seems as if it would have been so overwhelming. I guess you're pleased that you have a lot more prep time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've got a lot more practice now under my belt because of it. But, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed was that aged 25 when she became Queen, and me being 29 and a few months now. It is the fact that at the time she was a woman in a man's world.
All await the Queen's arrival.
Stepping into what everyone thought was only a man could do, I think she really carved her own way in that sense and produced an incredible amount of courage to do the job and to step up to the plate, and she's not let herself or anyone down in the process. And there's such scrutiny on the job that I think you have to be very, very careful how you carve your path, but she's done it brilliantly.
Do you remember that moment when you thought, oh my goodness, my grandmother is kind of a big deal?
I still think she's just my grandmother, really. I'm probably a bit of a cheeky grandson, like my brother as well. We both take the mickey a bit too much. I just remember always having a healthy respect for my grandmother, more so than others when I was younger, and my parents used to slap my hand if I was picking my nose, or if I was running around screaming, I'd be told to shut up. And I sort of understood that when I was around her, I needed to be a little bit more low-key and a little bit more polite.
From the time he was 6, Prince William knew 2 things: that he would one day be king, and that he could always count on the Queen.
She listens, she's a very good listener. So if you do ever have problems, you can share them with her and she will listen and she will try and help. But otherwise, she sort of lets you get on with your own life and carve your own path, and your successes are your successes and your failures are your failings. But she'll be there to help, but she won't ever tell you what to do. Having
said that, I heard that if she is displeased after the fact, she has no problem letting you know it.
Oh, no, definitely not. You know when you're in your bad books, definitely.
It's horrid, isn't it? Without my face there. Horrible. Dreadful.
Have you ever been chewed out by her?
Yeah, I've been in her bad books several times, yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah, and I've seen the way the corgis get told off when they're in trouble, so, I don't want to go there.
Walking through the gardens of Clarence House, where his office is located, the Duke of Cambridge was cool, calm, and in control. But he couldn't control everything. It must be so gratifying, too, for you as her grandson. Hello, helicopters. Could you please tell them to stop?
Sorry.
What is the helicopter doing?
It's for the Olympics.
Oh, for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, call them,
I will
would
give
you?
them a ring. Hang on one second.
But a phone call did fix another problem last year.
We're both very, very happy.
When he was planning his wedding.
Things were rapidly building up steam towards the wedding. And I was given a list in the first meeting of 777 names, and not one of them on there I knew. So it was a bit daunting, and it was like, well, that seems to be pretty much the guest list sorted, no room for friends or family, and I wasn't too happy about it. So I rang her for a bit of sort of moral support and a bit of backup, and she said, don't be so ridiculous, get rid of the list and start from your friends.
The sovereign did, however, have one royal edict for the groom. He would wear the ceremonial red tunic of an Irish Guards officer. William had different attire in mind.
When what I really wanted to wear was the Irish Guards frock coat. Well, we had a couple of discussions over this matter, but as I learned from growing up, you don't mess with your grandmother, and what she says goes.
Prince William's marriage to a commoner, Kate Middleton, was dubbed a modern-day fairy tale, with emphasis on modern. From the bride's arrival by car and not carriage, to her vowing to love, not obey, to their impulse to kiss not once, but twice on the palace balcony. You seemed to have a wonderful time at your wedding. Here it was, I don't know, watched by millions of people all over the world, and yet it seemed wonderfully intimate and personal, and just such a happy time for you.
Honestly, it was one of those days where you feel very elated, also completely terrified, I have to be honest. The prospect of 2 billion people watching was quite daunting. I sort of steadied myself, and with my brother, we were cracking some very bad jokes behind the altar before we were ready to come out, trying to settle the nerves. It was very important to both Catherine and I that we gave a day that was true to ourselves, because at the end of the day, you're getting married, and I take that very seriously, as does she. So as much as it's for the world to see, the personal aspect of it was very important to us.
I was massively nervous, everybody was nervous, and the whole thing was a bit of a blur, to be honest, because God knows how many millions or billions of eyes focused on us, luckily mainly those two, but you know, at the end of the day, we were all up there at the altar, and anything could have gone wrong.
You were worried that you were going to lose the ring, right? Because there
I was
were no
worried,
pockets?
No, I wasn't worried I was losing it, I was worried I couldn't get it out at the right time.
You had it in your cuff, right? Because there were no pockets in your pants?
Yeah.
As the two brothers occasionally shared their own personal moments amid the regal pomp and pageantry, who could forget it was all taking place in the same church where, 15 years ago, they bid their mother goodbye? It must have been so wonderful to see him so happy, but hard not to have your mother there.
No, of course it was. I think she had the best seat in the house, probably. Yeah, she would have loved to have been there. She would have loved Kate. And, you know, finally he's got married, so, you know, people can stop worrying.
You must have missed her so much that day.
Yeah, it was very difficult. I'd sort of prepared myself beforehand so that I was sort of mentally prepared, so I didn't want any wobbling lips or anything going on. It's the one time since she's died where I've thought to myself it would be fantastic if she was here, and just how sad really for her more than anything not being able to see it, because I think she'd have loved the day, and I think hopefully she'd be very proud of us both for the day, and just very sad that she's never going to get a chance to meet Kate.
But Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, does have the benefit of a relationship with the other matriarch in William's life, one who knows a little something herself about towing the line between being incredibly public and remaining intensely private. The Queen, your grandmother, has never done what we're doing now. She has never sat down for an interview with a journalist. Why do you think that's the case?
Because you ask lots of questions.